Have you ever asked, what is heaven? Is it another dimension, a paradise? Does it really even exist? We're all going to pass from this earth, and knowing what comes next can end the fear of death and bring you peace. Our goal here at Hello Heaven is to answer these questions and many more concerning the afterlife. Welcome to our podcast, Hello Heaven.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Hello Heaven. I'm Barry Strohm, your host. If you're interested in learning the truth about heaven, you've come to the right place.
And I'm Connie Strohm, your co-host. Barry and I have been channeling the spirits for 15 years now, and we have over 850 videos on our YouTube channel. And you can download any of the shows for free at podbean.com. We receive many questions from our listeners where the answers can be found in our videos. Our channel is in the name of Barry Strohm, and you can view our past shows that we have brought you where all aspects of the paranormal and the supernatural. It's our hope that you will tell others about our shows so that more people can hopefully find happiness through our messages.
Okay, Hello Heaven's broadcast on YouTube Live, as well as my personal Facebook page, and it's in our Facebook groups. Our most active group is Words of God Then and Now, and all our live videos can be seen at that site. Audios of all our broadcasts can be downloaded on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google platforms, Alexa, and we're also on other platforms as well. Now, at the present time, there's many problems in our world. There's war in Europe. China is threatening to wage war with Taiwan and wants to rule the world. Inflation is high, making it even hard to feed a family. And there's great uncertainty in our political policies and future path. There's many reasons to be unhappy and depressed at this time, obviously. So tonight, we're going to channel with 3 archangels and discuss how to find happiness in this troubled world. We'll speak with Gabriel, Muriel, and Remiel and discuss if it's even possible to find happiness. We'll start channeling with Gabriel. He's played a huge role in the evolution of humans since the beginning, as well as cultures on other planets. So Gabriel, thank you for returning to our show, Hello Heaven.
Yes, welcome back, Gabriel. You have been around since the beginning of life on Earth. Are modern times more troubled than ancient times?
There are definitely a lot of problems going on right now in your modern world, but really throughout time, there have been many problems. I don't really think that it's any worse. If you had lived at the time that Jesus walked the earth, the Romans were waging war on many different countries. There was much going on around the world with other cultures as well. The Greeks waged war. War seems to have been something that humans can't seem to live without. And you take almost any time period, you're going to find out that there are wars that are taking place. Are modern times more troubled than ancient times? Yes. If you want to think of the weaponry that's available. In ancient times, they used swords and spears. Today, you use nuclear weapons. So there's a huge difference. If some fool decides that they want to truly use the powerful nuclear weapons, they have the ability to basically end the evolution of humans on Earth as you know it. So in that respect, yes, it's more dangerous. But if you look at the personalities of humans throughout times, it's pretty much the same.
How did the ancients handle their problems?
They handled them with swords and shields and spears. Ancients, they did not have access to psychiatrists or psychologists. Basically, you were on your own. If you were not a happy person, you better figure it out on your own because there was no help available. The ancients had many mental problems. They had nowhere to go. If something was wrong, they simply had to live with it. In some cultures, there was inbreeding, and that even added to mental instability among the rulers. Today, you have help. You have medical help. You can talk to people. You can even listen to shows on YouTube, such as Barry's, and get guidance and help. But the ancients basically had to solve their own problems. There was no such thing as PTSD when the soldiers came back from a battle. And the battles were incredibly brutal. It wasn't uncommon to see 30, 40,000 men die in a battle. So the psychology was different at the time. It was a very brutal time. So the ancients were basically on their own.
Okay, Christianity has only been in existence for about 2,100 years. What messages did you give humans before Christianity existed?
Before Christianity existed, we tried to get cooperation and coexistence on an individual basis. We would go to some of the leaders, but some of the leaders did not want to hear the guidance that we had for them. It was a much different time. Keep in mind that many of the civilizations worshiped multiple gods, and they were gods that didn't exist. The concept of the one God really started with the Jewish faith. We sent people back to try to speak about having faith in a single God. But the Romans resisted it. The Greeks resisted it. It was very difficult times. So we handled things much differently. We would simply try to get individuals to cooperate with one another. We felt if we could get that done, we would be accomplishing great things. But as I've been speaking, it's things are much different today. Today, many people are distressed by what they see on television. It's very easy to see all the problems in the world. Keep in mind, in ancient times, you had no means of rapid communication. So you would only be aware of what was going on around you. Now, quite often that was bad. The Romans were not gentle people, and they would enforce their regulations. Many people were killed. It was very violent times. So when you look at the violence today, yes, there's a lot of things going on. But throughout history of man, it has not been a peaceful time.
Did the ancients who worshiped the many gods even believe in an afterlife?
Some had a hint. You can see as humans began to advance that they would do things for individuals that had died. For instance, the pharaohs would be given items that they thought they would need in the afterlife. The concept of an afterlife is not just simply unique to modern people. The Native Americans, for instance, thought that they would have to be fighting their enemies in an afterlife. So that is why they often mutilated the bodies after a battle, so that the bodies in heaven or in their afterlife would have problems fighting. War was just seemed like the natural thing. So the afterlife, the concept of the afterlife came from God sending back individuals with psychic abilities who would speak of spirits being available after death. The ancients would see ghosts. There's no question that the presence of ghosts was very similar to what it is now. That has not changed through time. So they became aware that there was something. Once the concept of a single God began to be prevalent, the leaders of the faith, the Jewish faith, would speak about a heaven, about a paradise. And it was a concept that grew, but it wasn't a uniform concept. Each religion had a different idea of what the afterlife would be. And obviously, no one had a clear idea, even if an individual had had a near-death experience. They wouldn't put it together that they were seeing the afterlife. So it's really not until the time of modern communication that the true concepts of heaven became available to everyone.
What was your role as an archangel in ancient times?
It was much different. We were trying to teach. Keep in mind that ancient humans were much like their animal and that had come before them. We had to teach them to use fire. We had to teach them how to hunt. We had to teach them how to cook their foods. We had to teach them how to live in communities. So it was different. It was a more elementary type of guidance that we were doing. We were trying to lead the ancients into believing that life was important. And eventually we had to lead them into believing that there was truly an afterlife.
Yeah.
The concept of the value of the afterlife simply didn't come until Jesus came and walked the earth. But it was a gradual process. It took many years for us to bring the humans to a point that they were self-sufficient and that they would be living in communities and they would not simply be stealing from one another. So it was very basic trainings that we did in those days.
How has your role changed over time?
As the idea and concept of heaven became more prevalent, we tried to lead people towards believing in an afterlife, in a single God, and in doing what was necessary to live a good life. And the religions began to point out that if you lived a good life, then your rewards would be in heaven. Now, sadly, much of the teachings were distorted. For instance, the concept of hell was added by the church because the church wanted people to fear the afterlife and be able to rely simply on the church. So things were different, but we had to bring along. It takes thousands and thousands of years to truly train humans and to educate them. Today, humans are advancing very rapidly. So we're seeing that their ideas are coming to fruition at a much earlier age and with much less prompting. However, we're also seeing as technologies improve that people are drawing away from God because they can feel that they can prove that God doesn't exist. So today we're trying to bring people closer to the concept of a simple God, not of a complex situation as the religions have tried to lead you. We want people to use common sense. We want people to want to coexist, to love one another, to help one another. All of the things that you hear Jesus speaking of. So our missions have become much more defined now that modern times have come and social media and many other ways of reaching people are available. So we're changing our techniques just the same as we've done it on other planets. Keep in mind that we have led individuals on other planets through the various stages of evolution. So it's not a new thing for us. We're simply energies, and we've been around and we've seen everything pretty much has happened before. I would be surprised if there's going to be any unique happenings in the future that we have not had to deal with in the past.
What do you see as the key to finding happiness in our modern world?
The key to finding happiness is, first of all, to believe in a loving God. If you believe in God, then you'll believe in a coexistence. You'll believe in loving and helping one another. When all individuals are willing to follow the words of God, then you will find that there will be universal happiness throughout. If you do not live a good life, if you do not truly know the joys of helping others, you'll never find happiness. If you think that you're happy hurting others, that you're happy just hoarding the money that you have and not doing what you can for those in need, then you're never going to know happiness. True happiness only comes through following the words of God and believing in Him. If you don't believe in God, you're going to fear death. You're going to think that that is the end, and you will not tailor your life towards being able to wisely follow the teachings of God. So it all comes down to faith. Faith allows you to build the foundation upon which you find happiness. Without faith, you'll never truly know what happiness is.
Yeah. What do you see is the key to ending depression over what's taking place in this world?
First of all, you have to understand that there are things that are out of your control. It does no good for you to worry about, for instance, what the Russian leader is going to do, because you have no control over that. You have control over electing your leaders, and you must try to do the best you can in picking people that will be followers of God and will truly try to help the people. Sadly, you're finding that many of your politicians are only interested in their own personal power and their own personal wealth. So you must choose wisely when you elect your government officials. But depression and worry go hand in hand. If you worry about things, then you likely become depressed because you can't do anything about it. You have to tell yourself that you must be positive about what is taking place around you. If you're feeling depressed, go for a walk in the woods, go for a swim in the ocean. Do something that takes your mind off of what is going on around you. Go fishing. When you're trying to catch a fish, the last thing you're worrying about is a war in Europe. So you have got to be able to think about things that will not depress you. Think about happy things. Think about a newborn baby, the miracle of it. Think about all of the good that people are doing in the world. Go out and volunteer. Help others. When you volunteer, you'll find happiness. And when that person comes to you and says, "Thank you, you've helped change my life," that's when you'll start to know what happiness truly is. Do things that will bring happiness. There are things that you can do that will certainly bring you sadness. If you turn to illegal drugs, if you have an alcohol problem, all of these things at some point are going to lead to true unhappiness and depression. Take care of your body, exercise, do all of the things that will keep you in good physical condition. Now, as you grow older, you have to continue to exercise. Many people get very depressed when they grow older because their body degenerates as it should, and they cannot do all of the things that they have been able to do before. Focus on the blessings that God has given you. Do not focus on the problems that you have. Solve your problems as best you can, but do not let them bring you to a point of worry and depression.
That was some excellent advice. How do you think that alien disclosure is going to affect humans finding happiness?
Some it's going to have a terrible effect on. Some are going to be so fearful that they may even try to take their own lives. But they have to understand that aliens have been on this planet for hundreds and hundreds of years. Nothing new is going to take place except you're going to understand what is going on around you. The aliens are here to help. They can bring you great advances in medical care. They can bring you great advances in psychological care. But you have to not fear. You see, fear is the common denominator of depression. And depression has no positive sides to it. It's something that you must beat on your own. Many life plans include depression, and it is a challenge. But the aliens are not going to be here to hurt you. There may be times that there are scuffles or problems arise because people may try to put violence upon the aliens, and they're simply not going to let humans kill them. So there will be times of misunderstanding, but understand that the extraterrestrials from other planets have been on this planet long, long, long before humans walked the earth. And they will probably be on this planet long after humans are no longer able to live here. So disclosure will have all sorts of different effects. There are people that will react terribly to it, and there are people that will be very positive.
Thank you so much. Do you have a final message for us?
Yes, I've watched humans evolve since God created them. Humans have an incredible ability to adapt. That is a characteristic that God has given them. People have got to understand the good and understand the bad, but they have to pursue the good. They have to pursue what God wants you to pursue. Use your common sense in life, learn coexistence, see the great equality of all souls. Do not try to gain wealth for personal gain. Help others. Enjoy the happiness that is available to you. When you do all this, your life will be much better for it. So thank you once again for allowing me to speak. I know Muriel's waiting, and I'm anxious to hear what she has to say as well.
Yes, Archangel Muriel is the archangel who helps people deal with emotional problems. So, Muriel, thank you for coming back to our show. How did you deal with the emotional problems of the ancients?
It was very difficult. We would try to come to them in dreams and speak with them, but there was no defined way that we could communicate. Today, we can speak through people that have the ability to speak God's words. We can do many things. We can affect those individuals on social media. But in those days, the ancients, they only lived in their small worlds. They only knew what was going on around them. And they would really only react to how they were being treated personally. So we would try to get messages through to the individuals in power. We would try to do all the things to make life as easy for them as we could. But it was much different. Today, we have a lot of technologies we can use. We have people that can speak our words, as you're hearing now. So it was much different. We were very limited. We could only come to them in dreams. We might send people to them to discuss problems. But it was very difficult in dealing with the ancients.
How did the problems that you dealt with in ancient times differ from the emotional problems in our modern culture?
The problems of the ancients were very localized. They didn't travel that far. They were under the control of certain leaders. Things changed very slowly, basically, in ancient times. When the Romans were controlling the people, you knew what was coming. You had the emperors would take over. Some of them would change things. You would know that they would want to wage wars, so they would be taking people into the armies. But the emotional problems, there was no emotional help. It was only if we could come to people in dreams. Occasionally, we would send other human forms to them to discuss situations. But we were actually quite limited in how we would handle emotional problems in ancient times. Today, we have the gift of communication, and we can do much more than we did in the past.
Yeah. So, were you more successful dealing with emotional problems in the ancients or modern times?
Well, there's a lot more emotional problems to be dealt with in modern times. So we're actually more busy now than we were back when the ancients walked the earth, because their problems were relatively simple. As I say, they were localized, and they didn't have to worry what was going on another continent, because they didn't know another continent even existed. So they were living in very difficult times, but they were actually very simple when you compare them to modern times.
Yeah.
Today, people have access to information, and much of it is lies. There's propaganda that people hear that gets them very distressed, and sometimes the truth distresses them more than the propaganda. So we have to do our best trying to deal with all these problems. There are now doctors that deal with it, so we We have help among the human community, but the problems are very large. And basically, the worst problems are the ones that people have no control over. Those are what they worry about, and it does them no good. They need to simply worry about the localized problems over which they can have control and over which they know what is taking place.
Yeah. What do you see as the main way to find happiness in modern times?
The key to finding happiness is, as Gabriel said, was believing in God and following his words. But happiness comes from many things. It comes from having a family. It comes from seeing the baby of your family. It comes from doing things, enjoying the beauty that God has given you. There are many things that bring happiness. And sadly, if you allow it, there are more things that will bring you unhappiness. Worry does no good. Once you start to worry about things, then you are on the road to depression. And once you become depressed, it becomes a physical and mental problem for you, and it's very hard to overcome it. The best thing that you can do is divert yourself from things that make you unhappy. If there's an individual at work that is causing problems for you, try to avoid that individual. If you're in a bad relationship, get out of the bad relationship. You have to do things that adapt to what you believe happiness is. When you help others, you will soon start to understand truly what happiness is. But avoid bad situations. That is really the key to it.
With all the complexity of modern civilization, do you think it's possible to find happiness?
It's very difficult. The first thing I think you might do is turn off the news. The news is something that you have no control over. And all you will do is worry about a lot of what you hear. Pay attention to what has happened locally, because that is what you have some control over. You can elect your local politicians, or you can do things, volunteer locally. If you volunteer for a good charity or go to a place where you're helping the homeless, all of these things will bring you happiness. But you have to learn truly what happiness is. What is happiness for some people is not happiness for others. There are many people that don't want to see people helped. They want them to remain under their personal control. So it's a very complex problem. But basically, if you take away anything that is unpleasant, and you can never take everything away that's unpleasant, but reduce it as much as you can, then you'll be on the road to happiness.
Yeah. What do you see as the future for humans?
It's going to be very mixed. As individuals find the ability to control so much wealth, you are going to find that the incredible wealth is in the hands of a few individuals. Now, how do you reach those people to help others? If they do, then the future will be very bright. But if those people with the ultimate wealth seek to hurt others, it's going to be a huge problem for humans. You have to have leaders that want to help the people. There are leaders and there are followers. And there are many, many more followers than there are leaders. So if you choose a good leader, then the followers have a chance to prosper and to find happiness. If you choose lousy leaders, then the end result is going to be lousy as well.
What do you see as the greatest emotional problem faced by humans today?
I think the greatest emotional problem is depression and worry. If humans allow themselves to succumb to worry and depression, then there is little that they can do to find happiness. Depression is a terrible, terrible thing. It can cause them an individual even to want to take its own life. It will isolate the individual. They will tend not to congregate with others. Social interaction is very, very important for people, but they must interact with people that are good for them. If an individual interacts with a person that will lead them towards violence or drugs or hurting others, then that is a terrible thing as well. An individual has to remain an individual, has to make its own decisions, and has to understand what it is that will make it happy.
Do you see any way that would cause emotional problems to be cured in the future?
Yes, to have the source go away. Electing good leaders, positive social interaction, going out and enjoying yourself, not following violence, not taking drugs, doing all of the common sense things that will lead to happiness. So there is a way that it can be cured in the future. You elect good leaders, you do away with war, you control and get rid of nuclear weapons, and things will become much better. But it all comes down to following the teachings of God. When you follow the teachings of God, you will find happiness. Other civilizations on other planets have done it, and humans are capable of doing it as well.
You're absolutely right about that. I've come to where I feel sorry for people that don't know God, because he really does bring you true happiness. Do you see a pathway to world peace in any way?
At the present time, I must be honest and say that I don't. There are too many differences. It will be a long process, but people have got to understand that the only way they're going to exist is to find world peace. You're going to have wars. You're going to have people trying to kill each other for no reason. And you're having people turning away from God. As long as people are turning away from God, you have absolutely no chance for world peace.
Do you see any hope for the future of humans?
Oh, there's always hope. God wants humans to make it. He wants them to evolve positively, and he wants them to be able to be happy. As long as people believe in God, they have a chance to do that. If humans draw away from God and walk away from his teachings, there is no future for humans.
Yeah. Do you have a final message for us, Muriel?
Yes. Be positive. Do what is right for yourself. Be good to others, and you will find that at least you will assure yourself of personal happiness. Do not let things that you cannot control bring you into a depression. Do not associate with individuals that cause you unhappiness. Only associate with people that are positive, that believe in God, that want to help others. If you do those simple commands, then you will find that your life will be much better. So thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity as always. Please go forth and believe in God. All will be much better for you.
Thank you, Muriel. Your presence on our show is always appreciated. Next, we will speak with the Archangel Remiel, the guidance angel. Remiel, thank you for joining us tonight. How did the way that you guided the ancients differ from the way you guide modern humans?
We were very limited in what we could do, as my friends discussed earlier. We would have to come to them in dreams. Some of the ancients knew how to meditate, so we could come to them when they were in their meditations, but it was very difficult. Today, we can use modern electronics, modern communication techniques, and we're finding that many more people are meditating and finding understanding with spirits on the other side. It seems as though the the veil between the living and the past is growing thinner. Many more people are believing in the afterlife, believing in God, and many more people are being able to find the abilities to communicate and to understand the afterlife. And that is very important, because once you have that understanding, the door opens for much more knowledge.
Yeah. So how did you guide humans before Christianity existed?
Before Jesus decided to return and as God, we prepared things for him. For as many as 500 years, we tried to lead the different tribes and send people back to bring understanding of a one God. There had to be a foundation laid in preparation for Jesus to return. Before that time, we did the best we could with the different cultures. The pharaohs in Egypt had an understanding of an afterlife. They just simply didn't truly understand how it worked. They thought they could take physical items with them and it would help them in the afterlife. And that certainly is not the case. Different cultures had different spiritual beliefs, and we tried to guide those spiritual beliefs, but we were quite limited in what we could do.
Yeah. When you hear a prayer request for guidance, what is the most requested assistance from humans today?
We hear many, many prayers about healing an individual from a sickness. Humans have been abusing their bodies for years, and because of it, there are many, many sicknesses some of them are relatively new, some of them are old, but we hear a lot of people asking to help their physical illnesses. We're hearing more and more people asking for guidance. When they have situations that are facing them, they don't know what to do. We're hearing more and more people ask for help, which is a good thing because we try to give them guidance. More and more people are understanding the afterlife and what it takes to advance in heaven. So we're hearing more and more people ask what we can do to help others, how we can find happiness, and people are asking what they can do to help please God. Well, the answer is clear. Simply build a foundation of faith and help others and lead a good life. We have some people that ask guidance into what religions they should follow and questions such as that. The answers the questions are becoming more complex, just the same as your way of lives are becoming more complex.
Yeah. How would you define happiness?
I would describe happiness as an individual knowing what truly brings them into a state where they are not feeling depressed and where they are believing in God and that all things are going well for them. It's a state where you can handle your problems. It's a state where you do not worry about things that you have no control over. And it is a state where you are satisfied with yourself.
How has that definition of happiness changed as humans evolved through time?
Today, humans essentially have their lives assured. In ancient times, it was very, very difficult to avoid violence. So you would always be worried about your true existence, whether someone would try to kill you. In the early ancient times, humans would simply act as animals and try to take what another human had. But as humans advanced, they started to worry about creature comforts, fire, keeping warm, building homes, living in communities. Once you lived in a community, you had to learn to get along with others. So there's very much change through time. And What would make an ancient person happy would not even come close to satisfying a modern human.
What do you believe is the key to finding happiness in our modern world?
Personal control. You have to be able to control your emotions. And having that foundation of faith that you hear about all the time. If you have a foundation of faith, it will bring you to have control. You must learn not to allow things to anger you. You must not show violence. All of the things that God commands is part of what you need to have. And if you follow his commands, for the first time, you will truly understand happiness. Happiness can be very difficult to define because it means different things for different people.
Is it even possible to find happiness?
Oh, absolutely. Many people that have the firm foundation understand true happiness, even though they have physical disabilities. They know that helping others and doing what God wants brings them true happiness. You have to overlook the problems and be positive in your life.
So would you say, is it possible to find happiness without believing in God?
Not true happiness. You may delude yourself into thinking you're happy and that you're doing what you want to do and that you're helping your family in many ways. But without God, there's no happiness.
Yeah.
You'll fear death, and death is coming to all. So you have this overhanging fear. If you believe in God, you won't fear death because you'll know that your day of passing is the greatest day of your life.
It's estimated that there's over 4,000 organized religions in the world today. What role do organized religions play in finding happiness?
They can play a huge role through social interaction, or they can play a terrible role by having you fear God and basically fearing the church itself. Churches that tell you they're the only path to heaven are on the wrong path. Each individual has a path to heaven. Your soul's going there no matter what you do. And some religions are excellent in social interaction and helping others, and others just simply lead to fear. Individuals will fear that they're living a life that will go to that hell that the church talks about. So religions that are positive and speak of the true foundation of God are wonderful, but there are many that are like businesses and are only interested in what is best for the religion and not for the individuals that are attending them.
Remiel, do you see your role changing in the future?
As technologies increase, yes. The more people see technology increase, the more abilities they have to understand. Technology allows you to accumulate facts, but just because you have facts does not mean that you have knowledge. You will have the ability to understand the facts that are given to you. And if you use those facts to find happiness and to understand God, then you're gaining true knowledge. Individuals that can be the brightest in the world use the facts to prove God doesn't exist. So they are having no true knowledge in spite of their intelligence. So it's very simple. All you have to do is believe in God.
Do you have a final message for us?
Yes, humans are going through great technological changes. Do not let that draw you away from understanding the truth about God and his foundational teachings. Understand that just because life is getting more complex, that the simplicity of his commands and the simplicity of the things that you need to find happiness are not going to change. Happiness is something that you will only find through truly understanding, helping others, and doing all of the things that God has suggested that you do. So thank you. Pray to us. We'll try to help you as best we can and give you guidance. Happiness is worthwhile searching for. Many people never find it. But once you find it, you will know. And once you know, you will truly understand that your pathway to heaven is brightly lit by the light of God. So goodbye, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Remiel. Your words and guidance are very appreciated. If you listen to our show, you will know that we often channel the Archangels. My book, Modern Messages of the Archangels, has a huge amount of information. We channeled 20 of the different Archangels, and they all speak as brilliantly as what you heard in the show today. I guarantee you, reading it, you will learn. If you'd like to participate on the show, send an email to onestrom@gmail.com. Describe your story of the supernatural, who you'd like to channel, and any questions that you might have. I'll get back to you and set up a time to record. My 11th book, Jesus the Missing Years, A Modern Gospel, is available in paperback, hardcover, ebook, and an audiobook on Amazon. If you want a signed copy, you have to go to my websites, barrystrohm.com or spiritspredict.com. The book explains in details why there's little in the Bible about the 33 years from the birth of Jesus to the beginning of his ministries. I guarantee you will learn and you will truly understand Jesus as a human. It's available. Please tell your friends about it.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, Hello Heaven. Please join us on YouTube Live as well as Facebook Live on Barry's personal page and our Facebook groups on Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the videos of the live feed. The audio of our shows can be heard on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Alexa, Spotify, iHeart, and all the major platforms. So please tell your friends about our show. They're all meant to prove the existence of an afterlife and to bring you hope.
Okay, thank you for listening to Hello Heaven. Our goal is to bring you the true information about the afterlife. Everyone is going to pass from this earth, and the more you know about the journey of the soul, trust me, the less you have to fear. So please tell your friends about our shows. You will be doing them a favor. So goodbye, and thank you so much for listening. Thank you for listening to Hello Heaven. Please join us Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube and Facebook. You can hear us on multiple audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Alexa, and other media platforms as well. If you'd like to appear on the show, send an email to onestrom@gmail.com and tell us your story. Have a great week. Tell your friends about our show. They'll thank you for it. Music is by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com.